as NBA fans, there are three things that all of us possess: a favorite NBA team, a favorite NBA player, and a completely out of this world, atrocious hot take that'll have even the most sane people wondering if we're completely out of our minds. For the past couple of weeks, I've been scrolling through the depths of NBA Reddit to find the good, the bad, and the downright criminal NBA hot takes that some NBA fans have. So, without further ado, I'm Frank Thomas, this is Off the Backboard, and let's get right into some of these hot takes. Our first hot take is going to come from a user on Reddit named Putrid Ad. He says, too many people think adding an all-star to a team will automatically translate to success. Chemistry has to develop, players need to mesh, and replacing one person with another, unless the person going out was the focal point of the offense and the upgrade is substantial for that position, it's not simple addition. Sometimes it's subtraction. Locker room chemistry is a thing. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is something that I could not agree with more. I've never been a fan of super teams since I started watching the NBA, and they're just something historically we haven't really seen work, besides the anomaly with, Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors. That was just one of the greatest scorers of all time, joining one of already the greatest teams of all time, so there's no way that collection of talent wasn't going to work. But, just recently with the super teams that we've seen being built, they just haven't had a whole ton of success. And the past few years, the team taking home the Larry O'B at the end of the year is a team that's more built rather than bought. You have the Denver Nuggets with their hometown hero in Nikola Jokic that they drafted. They drafted Jamal Murray. They drafted Michael Porter Jr. They picked up Aaron Gordon in a trade when Aaron Gordon wasn't exactly a huge name, but he was just the perfect piece that they needed. Built that continuity with that roster and took it into the playoffs. You have the Milwaukee Bucks, who, of course, again, hometown hero and Giannis Antetokounmpo, drafted by that franchise. You have K-Mid, Brook Lopez, just not a lot of huge names on that roster, but just really a complimentary squad of guys to have around Giannis. You have the Golden State Warriors, who, of course, at this time were out of their super team era. You had Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins making huge contributions to this team. Of course, Jordan Poole being a guy that they drafted, Andrew Wiggins being a guy that they traded for. Not the hugest name, again, but just probably the second best player during that championship run. So, again, this is one of those hot takes that I could not agree more with, and I would love to see more teams that were built rather than bought take home the Larry O'B at the end of the season. Now, this next take is going to come from who we'll just call John. He says, you can replace Kobe Bryant with any other all-star level guard on that 2000 Lakers team, and they will still win 3 straight. Prime Shaq was that dominant. Now, something that I will never understand as an NBA fan, and this doesn't even just apply to the NBA, this could apply to just general life. Why must we bring down one person to bring up another? Now, I understand how dominant Prime Shaq was. There is absolutely no denying that. But to explain how dominant Shaq was, there's no reason you need to say that he didn't need the scoring punch that he got from Kobe during that championship run. There is no three-peat without Shaq or Kobe. If those two weren't bouncing off of each other, they were pretty much the perfect duo together. And I know that there were a lot of other extremely high-level guards in that 2000s era that who knows, you may have been able to swap Kobe out with them, but there's no way that you three-peat. Winning an NBA championship is something that I don't feel people understand how much everything needs to go perfect. And you swap out one of the main components to those championship runs, there is no telling what could go different. Now, who knows, they may have been more successful, less successful, but there is no way that three-peat happens without Shaq and Kobe being a duo. So that being said, I just can't get behind this one, man. RIP Mamba, and let's get into the next hot take. Now, this next take is going to come from Sammy D. He says, Steph Curry is one of the least clutch players in the game. If I am the opposing team, I want the ball in Curry's hands in crunch time. Brother, you have to have lost your mind. There is no way that you are telling me that you want the greatest shooter of all time. You want the ball in the greatest shooter of all time's hands if you're an opposing team in crunch time. See, that's why some people just aren't NBA coaches. You know, like, you would lose your job so damn quick if you were to tell your team, hey, get the ball in Steph's hands with 5 seconds left on the clock. Let's let him take the shot. Let's make him work for it. Blasphemous, bro. I don't even have the words for that. What? Bro typed that out in Reddit and still posted that comment. Let's get to the next take, man. God damn. This next take is going to come from The Last Samurai. He says, the KD Warriors would beat any MJ team in 6 games max. Now, this is one of those hot takes that you read, and the first thought that goes through your mind is, this guy is absolutely insane. And trust me, that's the first thing that I thought when I read this too. But, hear me out. The more that I thought about it, the more that I kind of started agreeing with this guy. Now, if the Bulls had a more dominant center during their championship run, then I would have a hard time saying this just because of the perimeter defense of Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. But if you're telling me that Bill Wennington or Luke Longley is going to be the center, that the Warriors are going to be throwing in those pick and roll actions, the Bulls are cooked. I'm sorry. And I don't even see it going to 6. And as well as the shooting that the Golden State Warriors have, that the Bulls completely lacked. And don't get me wrong, I know that this is a completely different era. The Bulls weren't expected to have a whole ton of knockdown shooters on their team. But the Warriors are simply just going to outscore the Bulls every single game. On top of that, let's not act like this Golden State Warriors team wasn't also known for their extreme lockdown defense. So when their only 2 perimeter options in Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen are having to deal with the long bodies of Kevin Durant and Draymond Green on the other end, who else is going to get stuff cooking for that Chicago Bulls roster? So simply put, I know that on first read, this is one of those takes that, you know, you might disagree with, but I promise you, just put a little more thought into it and you might see where I'm coming from. This next take is going to come from Pablo Undercover. And with this take, he should probably stay undercover. But he says, if LeBron never left Cleveland, he'd probably only have 1 ring, if that, and wouldn't have GOAT status. First part of this take that I want to dive in on is the if that. So you're telling me if he never leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers, he would have just never won a ring? You're saying that's what, like, they never would have had that series against the Golden State Warriors. I know that things in this timeline of him never leaving the Cavaliers, things probably would have been a lot different for the Cavs. But if you're telling me that in the 20 years of LeBron's career, if he stayed with the Cavaliers, he wouldn't have at least 1 piece of jewelry, you're absolutely insane. Nuts. Now, getting into the next part, saying that he wouldn't be in GOAT status or just wouldn't have as many rings as he has. LeBron James is a talent that I feel like no matter what team he would have been in with his entire career, he's winning multiple rings and he's going to be in that conversation regardless, simply just because of the talent. I mean, this guy has a frame and skill set that we've never seen in the history of basketball. His athleticism, absolutely insane. And LeBron James is a name that I know that even though he was in Cleveland in a smaller market, he would have had people come and team up with him regardless of if he went to LA. So this is just one that I feel like is completely out there. I know that there's a lot of LeBron haters out there, but man, you guys really do go out of your way to say some of the most outlandish stuff. But without further ado, let's get right into the next take. This next hot take is going to come from Disc Drifter. He says, Luka retires with the most points scored in NBA history. Now, I understand back then when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar broke that record all those years ago, that they said that it was going to a record that was going to stand the test of time. It would probably not be broken in Kareem's lifetime, as it was just one of those records that was so extremely out there with his longevity that it was just unbreakable. Now, I feel like that is most definitely the case with LeBron's record, as in Jimmy High Roller's video that he just recently dropped, it was some insane statistic Like, a player would have to come in and average 30.1 points per game, play 72 games a season for some insane amount of time to break LeBron's scoring record. Now, and that's not, I don't think that was even accounting for LeBron continuing scoring, which, as we all know, he's going to play a few more seasons in the NBA. He'll probably put up at least 1,500 points in each of those seasons, which is just going to make this record even more attainable. Now, I know that if anyone was going to be able to break it in our lifetimes, it would be Luka, but he's already so far behind, it's just extremely unlikely. So LeBron's record will probably outlive all of us. It will be breaking generations upon generations later. And that's something, honestly, that I'm extremely grateful that I say I got to witness, was him breaking that scoring record. But without further ado, let's get right into our next hot take. Now, our next hot take is going to come from Competitive Gear. He says, when LeBron retires, the NBA will be significantly less interesting. It will be hard to find a comparable face of the NBA. Now, this is one that I just don't really agree with. And this is something that I feel spawned from the fact that NBA fans just don't really like change. As we see the same guys in the All-Star game every year, we have the same guys in the MVP ballot every year. You know, I feel like NBA fans just are uncomfortable with giving this newer generations of guys, you know, like the title of them next, or, you know, maybe even right now. You'll find Lakers games, Warriors games with higher ratings than teams like the Thunder and the Timberwolves, when in all reality, it is more exciting to watch those Thunder and Timberwolves games. It's just people are more used to seeing, you know, Steph Curry and LeBron James do the things that they do. So it's just hard for some of the NBA fans to give some of the newer guys their flowers. But we have a lot of extremely talented young players that are more than able to take over the league once LeBron leaves. Guys like Giannis, Luka, Shea, Anthony Edwards. The NBA is in great hands, and I know it's going to be an extremely sad day the day that LeBron does retire. But again, fear not, NBA fans. The NBA is in great hands once those guys do leave. So for that fact, I just can't really agree with this hot take. But let's get right into the next one. This next hot take is going to come from Trev Mack. He says Steph Curry is overrated and changed basketball for the worse. So I'm asking all of you guys to join me in a short moment of silence for Trev Mack's brain cells. Thank you. That concludes that. Thank you. This last one, I accidentally cropped out the username and I was not able to find the original comment. But he says the 2022 championship is the last NBA championship the Warriors will win for at least a decade. The Splash Bros era is done, dynasty over. This is one of those ones that I agree with part of it, but not completely. I don't think that this is the last championship that the Warriors will win for a decade, or at least I hope it's not. I would love to see Steph Curry bring home another championship for the Warriors in, you know, the rest of his playing time that he has. But I do definitely think that the Splash Bros dynasty is over. I highly doubt that both Draymond Green or Klay Thompson will be on this Warriors roster this next year, which effectively ends that dynasty between the big three of them. But again, I'm a big believer in Stephen Curry. I really think that if you put the right pieces around this guy, he'll be able to win championships until he's 40. Just with the shooting, you know, the way that he conditions his body, the way that he still can get up and down the court, I would not be shocked at all if the Warriors would be able to put, you know, a complimentary group of guys around him to win a championship, or even if he's not the number one anymore. As we've seen, you know, a slight decline from him this season. He's still putting up great stats, but it's just obvious on some nights that he's getting a little older. He's had multiple bad scoring outings this season. So who knows, maybe if they could find, you know, maybe a young talent to come out there and take the ball out of Steph's hands. I still think that he has a lot more gas left in the tank when it comes to his NBA career, but the Warriors need to get on it quick. Just because I know that I said there's a lot of gas left in the tank still, but this guy is still getting up there in age, so you definitely do need to do something about it while you still have him playing the brand of basketball like he is. But again, I don't completely agree with the take. I don't completely disagree with the take. But I definitely do think that this Splash Bros dynasty is over. And that is going to do it for me, y'all. I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video if you've made it this far. I had a ton of fun making this video, you know, diving deep into the threads, the, you know, different comment sections and stuff like that with all of these hot takes. There were some on there that were just so completely outlandish that I feel like I couldn't put them in the video. But if you guys want to see stuff like that, just let me know. And if you enjoyed this kind of video, drop a comment down below just letting me know so that I can make, you know, more stuff like this. Again, I really appreciate you watching this full video, and I'm sorry that my voice sounds a little weird. I've been dealing with a sickness for the past week or so that's also why I haven't been uploading. But one more time, drop a hashtag AskGoToBe in the comment section down below with any sort of hot take or question for a chance to be featured in one of these videos. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm about to get out of here. Peace.